Hi, and welcome to our session looking at the opportunities and challenges of mountain biking and cycling in the Highlands, with a specific focus on the premier destination of Lochaber. So this is the first time a lot of us have done a kind of live conference like this, so apologies if it doesn't quite go to plan, but we're going to give it our best shot. My name is Rory Watt, and I work for developing mountain biking in Scotland as Highland Development Co-ordinator. We're also joined by Carrie Starkey from Sustrans, John Sutherland from Nevis Range, and Fraser Copeland from Lochaber Chamber of Commerce. So I'm going to briefly give a bit of background on my job and cycling and mountain biking more generally in the Highlands, and then we'll hand on to John to give a bit of an update on Nevis Range. So I started my job back in mid-February this year and got about 6 weeks in before all the COVID stuff kicked off. So it's definitely been more challenging than anticipated, and we've had to change things around a wee bit. So the main bulk of my work during this first year has been working on a bike plan for the Highlands. So master planning the main mountain bike destinations in the Highlands to make mountain biking work better for the destinations. So master planning the key destinations to make sure that they work better for businesses, riders, communities, and land managers across the area. So I'll give a wee bit of background now on the different areas we're working on. The key areas we work within are the existing mountain bike destinations that are already up and running. We're not looking at introducing new destinations at the moment. So the first one of these is the Gorhams. So the Gorhams are known for this sort of classic flowing single track through lovely pine forests. It's brilliant natural riding, suitable for a wide range of abilities. However, there's very sensitive land, for example, Capercaillie Forest, the plateau up on the hills. There's formal trails at Lagan and Glenlivet at either end of the national park, but otherwise it's largely unpromoted. And this brings its own challenges because there is no sort of structure to where people ride. They're just sort of following existing trails, and this is potentially taking them into those sensitive environments. Particularly important this year, coming out of lockdown, when the area saw a lot more visitors than normal. It's really highlighted the need to try and manage people better within that environment. Next area we're covering is Toridon and Sky. So it's known for its epic sort of mountain riding. It's a well-known destination for more experienced riders wanting to get out and get a feel for that, the brilliant, rugged, rocky trails and a big mountain landscape. There's no promoted routes, no formal routes, but there are concerns around the impact on the riding on the ground. So with little sort of direct benefit to the businesses, there's questions over the sustainability of the trails. So we're looking at how we can make that work better for the area. Moving on to Sutherland. Sutherland's sort of well known in the mountain bike world for the Golspie Wildcat Trail, quality formal trails. But within the area, there's already a lot of other great recreational experiences available. However, there's the problem of it being so far north that relatively few mountain bikers visit. And a lot of the North Coast 500 visitors tend to pass by on towards the more well-known landmarks. So can mountain biking contribute more to the area, and can it attract North Coast 500 visitors to stop in Sutherland and spend their money? And then Lochaber, our premier destination that we're sort of focusing on today. This photo sums up what the area is about to most mountain bikers. But is there enough substance behind the World Cup? Can we attract mainstream mountain bike visitors to the area? How significant are our events, and can we afford to lose the status that the World Cup brings? So they're the sort of the key areas, geographic areas that the bike plan is working on. But below that, really what's central to mountain biking are the trails and the community that ride on them. So without local people taking pride in their local trails, the areas can't flourish as a destination. This photo shows Badenoch and Strathspey Trail Association. They've been running for a couple of years now, carrying out basic maintenance work on the trails around the Aviemore area, on sort of informal and unauthorised trails. So perhaps that's rider built stuff, or it's deer tracks that riders have sort of adopted and started using. So the group helps to manage landowners' environment and safety liabilities, as well as improve the quality of riding. It's a really good way to communicate between the different groups, for example, the riding community and the land managers. And that aspect of it has led on to them being involved in the Cairngorm Capercaillie project, which aims to protect and conserve the Capercaillie, which is great news, as the Trail Association have now got part-time ranger support and a decent bit of budget to look after their trails. So currently, Developing Mountain Biking in Scotland and Highland are supporting the groups you see on screen: Badenoch and Strathspey Trail Association I talked about, the Highland Wildcat group that works up at Galsby, and also Lochaber Trail Association. There's been the different groups have had training recently to bring them up to a standard where landowners know that they're competent for working on their land. And Lochaber Trail Association should be formally starting maintenance sessions in January. So moving on from those sort of proper mountain bike trails, we've got some great sort of formal trail centres and rider built natural trails, but we do need to encourage more people onto bikes, remove barriers and make cycling more accessible. Facilities like the pump track in Inverness are great for this. This is what the photo on the screen is. And there's several other communities are planning similar developments, including Fort William. So Sport Scotland have got a new facilities fund that has just launched, and Scottish Cycling will be administering the cycling pot of that. So there's £8 million available for groups across Scotland, and there's going to be some strong applications coming in from the Highland area. So where does that go? Certainly we want to be getting all sorts of people into cycling, starting new people on their journey in mountain biking. And this is an example where it can lead beyond the sort of community participation into performance. So on the screen, there's Michaela Parton, from Fort William, who recently got 5th at the World Champs, and is this year proved to be consistently in the world top 10. And Jamie Edmondson, whose parents actually run the Glenlivet Cafe and Trails, who got 4th in the final World Cup of the year, and has also been getting into the top 10 fairly regularly. It's important to point out, I think, that both of these riders are privateers, so they're competing against full professionals. So an amazing achievement, and they're just the tip of the iceberg, really. In the Highlands, we've got a lot of good riders who are coming on through. But yeah, it's not just about those performance riders. We want to bring people in at a lower level. We want to encourage more families, more general people out onto the trails in the Highlands, and to be spending their money locally. Mountain biking is a year-round activity, open to a wide range of abilities. So why should mountain bikers visit Lochaber in the Highlands? And that's what the panel is going to be talking about today. Besides mountain biking, we can offer all these experiences, really good quality outdoor experiences that aren't available anywhere else in the UK, and we should be really proud of that. So now I'm going to hand on to John Sutherland from Nevis Range. John has a background in skiing and climbing, and a recent convert to mountain biking. He's going to give us a bit of information on their new trail developments. Okay, John.
Okay, hi, I'm John Sutherland. I work at Nevis Range. I am activities director here. I've been involved in Nevis Range since it started. Originally, it was a ski area 30 years ago, and this company was put together for the local area, and there was such a really good resource in the area of mountains, good weather, great landscape. So it was a great place to have a ski centre initially. So that was great, and skiing took off, and then the weather changed. Skiing didn't really provide, the seasons that it had before. So we were left with, the summer trade, and really mountain biking became really popular at the time, about 20 years ago. So we started developing the mountain bike tracks there, and we put in a downhill track. And since we put in this downhill track, we've had, I think, we're in 19th year of World Cup downhill mountain biking. We work really closely with our landlords. We lease our area, so we have our our business spans forest and mountain. So we lease the top part of the mountain from Jahama Estates, and we lease the lower forest from Forest and Scotland. And we work really closely with these guys to try and put in trails, we're trying to encourage more bikers into the area and just provide a really good biking operation. So in the forest, we've got about 60 kilometers of trails, that from single track to off-piste, what we call them, sort of more guerrilla trails, as well as flow trails. We've got gondola access, so we've got the downhill, which is about 2 kilometers. We've got a top chief, which was originally a red trail. We've upgraded that to black. I think that's probably more sensible. I think it's become really popular. That's 5 kilometers. And we're in the process of constructing a blue trail. So this blue trail.
John, can I ask you just to come a wee bit closer? People are struggling.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, sorry. You give me that? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I was just saying there, we've got a downhill access by the gondola. We've got top chief, which is about 5 kilometers, access by the gondola as well. And now we're in the process of putting together a blue trail, which is probably going to be about 12 kilometers. And that's going from the top of the gondola all the way down to the base station. So we're really excited about that. So that's what we're really focusing on at the moment. And we've got a great team. We've got Dave Biggin and Harry. They're up there and they're constructing this at the moment. We're hoping to have it ready for the start of next season's biking. That's really exciting. We do fairly a lot of things with biking at the moment. We're working with No Fuss. We're working with Forest and Scotland. We're trying to bring trails that have previously been, as I mentioned, off-piste, but there's maybe ghost trails or locals trails. We're trying to bring them into our patch, into our territory. So that's been a really interesting process. But probably the best thing to do is save me waffling on, is to show you some imagery from the trails and show what Nevis Range is all about. So I'll try and share my screen. Hi, so I'm back. Yeah, so that gives you a flavour of what we do at Nevis Range. What we really love mountain biking. We are all about mountain biking, and now we've got a really good team of keen bikers who are really committed to promoting the area as well as Nevis Range. So we're doing lots of stuff with the new trails, maintenance, and trying to do as much as we can. And that's as well as these big events. But obviously, at the moment, the big events are a challenge to pull together with the COVID situation. So we're hoping that these will come back and we'll be able to put on these excellent, world-class events again and again. So yeah, that's really me.
But John, maybe you could give us a wee date for when you plan the new Blue to open before we move on.
I think, well, the Blue will hopefully be open for next season. We're hoping that biking season will start at the end of Easter. So we're looking at May, maybe early June for that. And hopefully we'll be able to get down it in some point, and there'll probably be more sections to come. At the moment, we've opened a small section of it. So yeah, we're hoping for next year this will be ready to go.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I should have said at the start, any questions would be great. Just fill them in the Q&A box and we'll deal with them at the end when we've got some spare time. So moving on to Carrie Starkey. Carrie works for Sustrans and is going to give us a wee bit of an update on what she's been working on in the area and how that fits in with mountain biking more generally. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to share my screen here and hope it works with no problem. Is that come up okay, Rudy? Thumbs up? Perfect. Okay, hi everyone, I am Carrie Starkey and I'm the Network Engagement Officer for Sustrans for the Caledonia Way. It's really brilliant to see so many people signed up for this fantastic event, and it's a true testament to the commitment and passion for all things biking in the Highlands. So my post is an embedded post with Lochaber Chamber of Commerce, and you'll be hearing from the CEO, Fraser Copeland, after me. I have a specific focus on engagement with businesses, organisations and key stakeholders who are in the vicinity of the Caledonia Way between Oban and Fort Augustus. So I've been working closely with Rory and the Chamber, and together we've exciting plans for the rest of this year and 2021 to help businesses engage and benefit from the ever-growing leisure cycling market and to continue towards our vision of creating a world-class cycling destination here in Lochaber. I'm really looking forward to working with the unprecedented momentum in this sector and to continue boosting and facilitating the leisure cycling market, which will generate much needed local economic vibrancy to our towns and villages. So what is the Caledonia Way? Some of you may have actually ridden the Caledonia Way and may know it well. For those of you that don't, the Caledonia Way is an iconic Scottish cycle route spanning 234 miles from Campbelltown to Inverness via Oban, Fort William and Fort Augustus. It takes in some of Scotland's most stunning scenery. And we know that leisure cycling contributes hugely to local economic vibrancy, and this market is estimated to be worth £239 million to the Scottish economy each year. The Caledonia Way itself attracts more than 2.5 million cycle journeys each year. And these numbers are currently on an upward trajectory. So I aim to engage with and support businesses in the area to benefit from this market and in turn to enhance the user experience of the route and the surrounding area. So we know that there's significant benefit to hospitality and retail businesses. You can see from the facts and figures in this slide that there's enormous engagement in hospitality and retail from cyclists along the route. We all know that cyclists like their coffee and cake and drinks and snacks to refuel, and you can see from the numbers gained from recent research that this theory is more than backed up. The route is accessible by public transport and by bike from the Central Belt, and I've got some really exciting news on that subject a wee bit later on. So the combination of all these factors, as well as the recent upsurge in interest and uptake in all types of cycling, points securely at a mushrooming market, and we want to help businesses and organisations in the area to grab their share. So I'm just going to show you a short video which demonstrates the positive impact that leisure cycling tourism can have on rural businesses. Hopefully it'll work okay.
My name's Libby. This is the Delavic Shop and Wild Rowan Cafe. We're located right on the Caledonia Way on the stunning shores of Lochaber. We actually only used to be open 6 days a week in the summer and 5 days a week in the winter. And with the increase in the cyclists coming by, we're open 7 days a week now. And it's worked out great. And it's secured another local part-time job. And we can't ask for any more. It's been brilliant. The value of cycle tourism here has been tremendous. It's enabled this business to stay afloat and be here for the local community. We are quite a remote place, and it's a small village as well. And to have all the facilities that we have in such a small place is great.
It's fantastic to see the direct impact that this thriving market can have on rural businesses, such as the one in the video that you've just seen. I'm just going to now quickly touch on some of the national and local promotional activity that Sustrans has been working on with our partners. Some of you may have already seen the Leisure Cycling Journey Planner, which has been designed and delivered by Sustrans in partnership with Visit Scotland. This site is hosted on Visit Scotland and can be reached through the URL at the top of the screen there. I'll pop that link into the chat box after finished. So launched in 2019 with the Caledonia Way. The other 3 routes that you can see on the map there were added in July this year. It acts as a one-stop shop for leisure cyclists, meeting their needs by providing them with all the information required to plan and enjoy their journey or day trip, as well as providing businesses and organisations along the route with a fantastic platform on which to shout about their services. The site really is a hub of information. So what can it do for businesses in Lochaber? As a member of Visit Scotland, businesses benefit from a free listing on this journey planner, and Visit Scotland uses their membership database to populate the site. And to give you a better idea of how it works, I've taken a wee screenshot there to show how business listings would appear on the site. And if you are a business and you want to follow this up, visit the site, have a really good look around, and just check that your business is benefiting from this free listing and that all your details are up to date. And if not, that's the email address there for Alan McKenzie, who's the Industry Relationship Manager for the area, and get in touch with him if you have anything that you need to add or change for your business listing. I don't have time today to talk any more in detail about this, but if you'd like to find out more, Sustrans, in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, are hosting our first leisure cycling tourism webinar tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Representatives from both Sustrans and Visit Scotland will be delving deeper into the journey planner and will be on hand to help businesses make the most of this fantastic asset. That's the link there at the bottom of that slide. And again, I'll put that in the chat box once I'm finished to sign up for that event. So looking just a wee bit more locally now, in October this year, the Lochaber Chamber of Commerce with the Outdoor Capital of the UK brand ran a really successful locals campaign. Part of this was a Things to Do promotion, and we worked with them to run a social media campaign and blog series showcasing some of the local sections of the Caledonia Way. Just picking up on what Rory was saying earlier on, we wanted to highlight the family-friendly routes and how accessible it is for lots of different groups of locals to use just certain bits of the routes. And we had a really great uptake. We highlighted some of the businesses on those sections, and we plan to run another series this winter, winter-spring. And we'll reach out to local businesses to engage with that campaign again. So looking forward to 2021, I'm sure some of you will have heard about the exciting new initiative from ScotRail. They plan to launch their new adventure carriages in spring 2021, and these carriages will have spaces for 20 extra bikes. The service will run on the West Highland main line between Glasgow and Oban, and it's a really exciting development which will facilitate cyclists travelling from the Central Belt. They'll be able to disembark in Oban and can use the Caledonia Way to reach their onwards destinations. And just touching on some of our plans for the leisure cycling journey planner, Sustrans plan to develop and launch more routes for the site and also populate the site with further day trips in Lochaber accessible from the Caledonia Way. And working towards 2023, when the UCI World Champs will be in Scotland, we have aspirations to have these venues added to the journey planner, as well as creating a suite of day trips and promoted routes so that these venues can be accessed by bike or foot. And just at the bottom of the slide there, looking at the business upskilling webinars that we are planning for the rest of this year and spring 2021. I'm really excited to be in the process of working closely with Developing Mountain Biking in Scotland and Lochaber Chamber of Commerce to design, develop and deliver a series of webinars to help businesses upskill and engage in the leisure cycling market. We plan to cover topics such as how to become cycle-friendly and how to write engaging marketing material to attract your target audience. The webinar programme will also include an announcement of a support package for businesses who engage with us through this series. To find out more details about this, you can sign up to the first webinar tomorrow night, as I talked about earlier. And if you can't make that one, just drop me an email and I can register your interest for the rest of the series. So although I've talked very much about the Caledonia Way, I want to take this opportunity to highlight at this mountain biking event that we hope that our work in promoting the route and engaging with businesses in the vicinity of it will have a wider impact for Lochaber as a destination. We want to make sure that the user experience in Lochaber is so fantastic that visitors come here by bike, they stay a bit longer, and they take the time to explore Lochaber by bike. And really importantly for businesses, by engaging with this booming market and by becoming a cycle-friendly service provider and by meeting the needs of these visitors through things like bike storage and drying facilities and targeted marketing, the businesses will reap the economic benefits from gaining an increased customer base and will play their part in establishing Lochaber as a world-class cycling destination. So if you would like to follow any of this up, please take the opportunity to sign up for the first of our webinar series, or also drop me an email. I'd love to hear from any of you, and I'll pop all those links into the chat box now. But that's me finished. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to hand back over to Rory, who's going to talk you through the next part. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Really good to see so much organisation going on behind the scenes around the leisure cycling market, particularly on the Caledonian Way. But I think it's important that we don't just view that as purely Caledonian Way. A lot of the services and facilities and welcome that mountain bikers need are exactly the same sort of thing. So if there's any businesses that see themselves near that route, along that route, who might be eligible to those services, who deal mainly with mountain biking, I think there's still really good opportunities to contact Carrie and get involved with any of these practical sessions that are going to be running. So I've noticed a couple of questions popped up in the chat. The first one, we'll deal with this at the end. What's been a great example of how you're getting new visitors to your destination? And I think that's something that is relevant to everyone. And then one to John. John, I wonder if you could you can deal with this at the end, or you could just reply to it in the text. What are the biggest threats to Nevis Range's continued success? So we should have a few minutes at the end. We can deal with questions and just summarise them, but we'll keep the flow going through the speakers. So I'd like to hand over to Fraser Copeland from Lochaber Chamber of Commerce, but in the mountain biking world, probably better known through No Fuss Events. On you go, Fraser.
Yeah, thanks, Rory. Yeah, I took up the post of CEO at Lochaber Chamber of Commerce in February of 2019, obviously realizing that 2020 was going to be a particularly hard year for no fuss events. So I wish I had that foresight, but no. When I came into the post as CEO at the Chamber of Commerce, we're a very fortunate Chamber of Commerce in that we're the custodian of the destination brand, the Outdoor Capital of the UK. And we take on the destination responsibilities. When I came into post, one of the first things that we set about doing was actually developing a destination strategy. And we wanted our destination strategy to be a bit sort of more meaty than perhaps the normal destination strategy, which would sort of have things like stay longer, spend more, return. Although these are all good strategies, or bulk out the shoulder months, we wanted to sort of put a bit more substance behind that and make it a stronger strategy for the whole destination business community and tourism. So what we set about doing was, how were we going to build a destination for life? And that was our fundamental objective, was creating a destination of choice for people to visit, but also to work, to stay and live here and conduct their business here. So we set ourselves out a fairly tough challenge in how we were going to do that, and engaging with all aspects of the community. And we had 8 pillars. That was our first pillar. That was where we really sort of put a lot of our effort and our thinking into it. And I'm just going to run through each of the pillars, give you a little sort of idea of what, if anybody wants to see the full destination strategy, I could give you a presentation just now, but I won't. If anybody wants that full destination strategy, we can get that to them. The second thing that we realized very quickly we needed to do was we needed to promote Lochaber and the outdoor capital as an outdoor winter resort. Now, although we're extremely famous for our 2 fantastic ski fields, winter mountaineering, we're arguably the best place in Scotland for that. A lot of our other visitors were not coming here in winter because they were only seeing that sort of high-end adrenaline activity, and the belief was that our restaurants and our accommodation was closed in the winter months. And so we've been working hard at how we promote ourselves and change the way we promote our profile. That aside, and obviously everybody would expect me to have number 3, as we had to raise the profile of the events that were going on. Now, today we're particularly talking about cycling and 2023 opportunities, and hopefully when we get back to running all the iconic events like the Toridon Nevis, the Toridon No Fuss events, and the wider events community, the Sky running and the music and culture events that go on throughout there that are of key importance. So what we're doing as a destination is picking sort of a good selection of events each month and targeting our work towards them. The next thing that we looked at was the brand, the Outdoor Capital of the UK brand. Whilst it's been majorly successful, and if I went round schools in Lochaber and asked school children what is the outdoor capital, most of the kids can give me a really good answer. If I stand in Princes Street and ask that question, that's probably not so good. And certainly if I go to King's Cross, it's probably less good again. So we need to sort of make our brands more compelling and develop our online presence, because that is a key to our success. That's key to every business, every destination is success. The next one was where things got a bit more interesting, because we needed to develop better partnerships. As a Chamber of Commerce, we were doing quite well. We had a great business membership, but we needed to develop partnerships. And that was, we had the opportunity with Sustrans when Carrie's post came up, and we had some good chats about that. And we worked out the values of embedding Carrie into the team with us. And to date, we think it's working well. It certainly feels like the right mix, and we're working as close as we can with Rudy through the developing the Highland-wide programme. That's been pretty challenging over the last few months, as we got booted out of our office on the first few days of COVID and haven't been able to get back. But these type of partnerships, our partnership with Nevis Range is a premium business member. They're a really key important business to our area, and we have to work closely with these businesses. The next one is targeting a balanced portfolio of markets and then improving the customer journey. So it leads me to the next question. This is where this year's been incredibly difficult, is who are our customers? Because actually my customers this week might be completely different to who my customers are going to be next week, just because of lockdown and the different tiers of lockdown. And we've been having to work our sort of marketing strategy in how we do that. But as we do look further ahead, and what our insights from our partnerships with Expedia and Booking.com, I know I shouldn't mention these words to a lot of you, but those partnerships are important for the data that they can feed to us. The domestic market and the local market are going to be extremely important to us for the next year. The next 6 months, the local market is going to be very, very important. And then we move to the domestic market. Looking to particularly towards cycling, you know, we need to wait till the event market emerges again, see what's happening. We need to manage the expectations of our potential visitors, whether they be local or domestic, what stuff's going to be open. You know, John, Rudy asked you for a date, not a rough indication. We want a date, okay? You know, things like that is manage the expectations so that people know when they come here, what experiences they can get, when they can ride and what they can do. We've got a vast variety, as Carrie and Rudy and John have discussed, you know, from the downhill course at Nevis Range, which is amazing, Caledonia Way, right through to rides around the town. We've got coffee cakes and castles around the town, and it's just amazing. And we'll continue to work with Sustrans, Developing Mountain Bike Scotland, as we develop the plan. We're quite excited next year that we're going to be launching the Outdoor Capital 5x100, which will be taking advantage of our big 100-mile mountain bike rides, our big 100-mile road bike rides, gravel rides, and we've got 5 great rides to launch next year, which we're really excited about. Another big aspect of our job is talent attraction. Our businesses need people. One of the biggest fears that we have at the moment as a Chamber of Commerce is that as the hospitality section has been under real pressure, a lot of those people who traditionally worked in that sector have found work in aquaculture or in manufacturing. And we need to make sure that we can have talent ready for when the hospitality businesses are ready to get up to full capacity, so that when our visitors do come, they get the right experiences. And then when we look at where will they stay, we have everything right through from 5-star to bike packing and dare I mention camper vans, you know, but we have to ensure that we have the right infrastructure for the right guests as they arrive, and make sure that they have access to the things that they need. And basically, in short, as a chamber, what we need to do there is work with businesses to maximize the economic impact of each of these different types of visitors, because they all spend money. I saw an interesting stat on ATA the other day that one adventure tourism visitor, so that's a cyclist, bringing their bike to Lochaber as a cyclist, is worth 41 times more to the economy than a cruise ship visitor. So I think as a chamber, we kind of know what visitors we're trying to target. And then final part of ours is enabling businesses to conduct their business. And a large part of that for me since March has been in managing to work with businesses, interpret the guidance, and make sure that businesses can get up and run legally within the guidelines, protect their workforces, and make sure that we can be as good as we can be in these difficult times. That's a quick fly through of what we do at the Chamber, Rudy. I hope that's okay. I hope that's what you were looking for. If anybody does want to see our destination strategy, I make that available quite easily through Rudy.
Yeah, thanks for that, Fraser. No, that was really good. And there was one question there. John has answered one already on Nevis Range, but there was one I was kind of holding back because I felt it probably spanned all of the speakers here. And that is from Tom, what has been a great example of how you're getting new visitors to your destination? And I think following on, Fraser, from your your stats there on adventure visitors versus cruise ship visitors, that's something I think that's really relevant. And do we have anything, any kind of like previous examples there of how we've managed to get new visitors into a destination, not looking specifically at cycling or mountain biking, but between all the panelists, have we got any examples there?
I think one of the really interesting questions that's come out over the COVID period is, and I've been asked a few times about returning to the new normal, to returning to normal, and should we go back to what we were doing before? And there's huge discussion about the value of the domestic market, the realization that the domestic market is actually worth maybe a bit more than we'd paid attention to, that, you know, we were maybe putting huge emphasis. But we can't say that we don't want the Asian market anymore, or we don't want the American market. We need to do that. So what we have to do is, I think we have to, as destinations in the Highlands, we have to work more collaboratively, and that has happened through the last sort of period. But we have to also work with the SEA and Visit Scotland. I believe that we have a real opportunity going forward, because the city break, the city attraction isn't going to have the same appeal as quickly as it had last year. So we have to capitalize on that, but we have to make sure the experience is good for the visitors who come here. So that was maybe an evasive answer, Rory, sorry, but the easy answer would be to say we'll get no fuss to create a new event.
Great. No, we're down to our last 3 minutes, and I think that's something that I feel is really significant to the area. And I kind of asked the question early on, how important are events, and how significant is the World Cup, and do we have enough substance behind the destination to justify that status as a World Cup? So I suppose John and Fraser, get any thoughts on that?
I think we, I think we do have a lot to offer in the area. The World Cup is a huge event, but you know, we're almost our 20th year now. So, what's the legacy of the World Cup? You know, we do have trails in the area. We should be showcasing the area more. I think also the smaller events. You know, No Fuss is an amazing company in the local area that actually these small events for Nevis Range, the small events, the 10 of the Bend and Giro series, actually they are really exciting. The World Cup is a huge beast that takes a lot of effort to put together from Nevis Range and the wider mountain bike world. But these small events, I think, bring as many people into the area and really showcase trails. I think they're really important. So yeah, it's good.
Great. So Fraser, maybe there's one just come through here in the last minute from Tom asking about camper vans. I was actually just typing an answer, but I know you mentioned it. Maybe you could give a very brief bit of detail on what the kind of current thinking is around camper van accommodation. In 1 minute.
1 minute. I've spent all summer talking about camper vans. I think we have to accept that camper vans are going to be a real thing. We have to work out as a destination how to welcome those visitors. If you're spending £30,000 on a camper van, you can afford to buy good food when you get here to cook on your camper van stove. The least we can do as a destination is make sure that you have the right facilities to get rid of your waste and the things that people, and park properly, park in town so that you can access the restaurants in town and that you can move around. So it's all about infrastructure. I have spoken a lot with Scottish Water and Highland Council about how we can access the drainage systems, to have systems like in New Zealand, where it's not a case of having to spend 30, 40, 50 pounds a night. Facilities are available within communities. The Highland Council are looking at the AIRS model from Europe, which is a great model. There are things happening so that we have to enable communities to welcome these visitors to the area and make sure that they get the right experience. These visitors stay in 5-star hotels as well. They have maybe 4 or 5 nights in their camper van and then stay in 5-star hotels. So we could talk for a long time on this subject.
All right. And I think we're done now. We've run out of time. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Sorry there maybe wasn't enough time for all the questions at the end. Thanks very much.